Hello and welcome to the Digitally Overwhelmed podcast. My name is Cynthia Pacheco and I'm on a mission to help online businesses step out of digital overwhelm and step into their creative potential. This podcast is all about helping women get more in tune with the analytics and SEO side of their business without the digital burnout. Get more information about the podcast at digimorphs.com. Hello, friends. Welcome. My name is Cynthia, and this is episode number 82 of the Digitally Overwhelmed podcast. Spring has sprung here in Buenos Aires, specifically where I live in Pilar. There are a lot of birds chirping early in the morning. There's, more green. I mean, in general, it's green here even in the winter. But it's definitely getting greener. Things are budding, so I'm very happy camper. And if you hear any grass cutters in the background, it's because people are tending to their greens a lot more than usual during wintertime. So this episode is super awesome. I got to interview Vanessa Berlin of The Fashion Statement. Vanessa is a past client that I worked with on her SEO, and that's what we're going to be talking about during this episode. Just the different things we did to her site. Her passion is in personal care, style, and fashion, but she's also all about being an agent for positive change. And that's what led her to create The Fashion Statement, which is an online fashion, beauty, and lifestyle destination. So she has a audience of over 55,000 followers. And she's all about, helping women simplify their lives and making them feel beautiful, powerful, and confident no matter what they do. So I am loving Vanessa's, her site and her purpose and everything that she's done. And when I started working with Vanessa, she was, I'd say, almost skeptical of the SEO work that I was proposing. She had come from a negative experience and she was really eager to do SEO the right way, but I could also sense she was fearful. And that's not the first time I've, encountered someone online who wants to grow their site traffic. They want people to find them more on Google, but they're just not sure because search engine optimization can, at the end of the day, be a technical task. And that throws a lot of, especially women, off, but many business owners who are not tech savvy just get really thrown off. Social media is more accessible from many points of view, while SEO isn't. So that's something I really integrate in my services. I'm not only an SEO expert and I know the technical going-ons of Google and your site, but I'm also a coach and I also really try and make all my clients feel comfortable in the SEO work we do. So I'm coaching you through it, I'm walking you through it. In some cases, I'm actually going in the back of your site and showing you how to do it. And that's the other reason a lot of my clients just love working with me, because I'm literally teaching them so that they can do it themselves. There's some things that you do need me to do for you, but other things, you learn it and then you can do it. That's it. Or you can hire someone else to do it or train your VA, your current VA, to do it. So part of my work is to make sure your site is performing well in the best way, and even in the ways that you aren't aware of. So there's lots of technical stuff that goes on in a WordPress or a Squarespace or any type of site, Shopify, that you might not be aware of. And you might have a web developer looking at that for you, but in terms of the SEO, that's a whole different ballgame. So you need to make sure that those parts of the site are working well too. So in this interview, we get into why investing in SEO is a crucial part of growing your business and your site traffic, some of the specific strategies that we used on Vanessa's site, and how she got over this fear of seeking out an SEO expert and working with me, even though she had had this bad experience with hiring another SEO service. Before we get into the Vanessa's interview, I wanted to, start off this episode by giving you 3 tips for growing your site traffic, and just to kind of warm us up into this topic before we talk about Vanessa's case. So number 1, know what your audience is searching. So you might be saying, okay, Cynthia, that sounds great, but I am not telepathic and I don't expect you to be. I'm not telepathic either, but there are specific things you can do to figure out what your audience is searching. The first one might be, lo and behold, ask. I know this sounds ridiculous, but this is what I do too with my clients, getting out there. And this is just a great exercise in general. On your next client call, ask them, what do you search when it comes to this topic? Try and be specific, because if you have a site about, about fashion, but then you ask your client what they're searching, they might say, well, I searched how to make donuts. It might not always be related, but you want to ask them, okay, regarding this topic, what have you searched for in Google? Write down exactly what they say, or better yet, record it and, then transcribe it, because those are the type of searches, that's the type of keywords you can start your whole SEO strategy off of. My other recommendation for knowing what people are searching is using Google Suggest. Google Suggest is the little text that comes up at the bottom of any search results page. So for example, again, if you're looking how to make donuts, I don't know why I'm on this donut thing. Maybe I need a donut. You search how to make donuts, and then if you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see a bunch of other keywords and a bunch of other searches. Those are search combinations that Google generates based off real searches. So that's another starting point for knowing what your audience is searching. But I do recommend doing that qualitative data research where you're asking real people. You can also ask your community through email or through a Facebook group. Wherever you get in contact with your people, go there. My second tip for growing traffic: create longer pieces of content as often as possible. I know this can be tricky if you're a blogger or if you're someone who produces a lot of content often, but if you can at least once a month create a blog post that is more than 1,000 words with a topic that is particularly interesting to your audience, that's going to change how people not only come to your site, but how they stay on your site. One of the key metrics that Google looks at is called linger time, which basically means how much time are people spending on your site. So if you can give them a reason to hang out either through a video or through longer pieces of content or through engaging images, or maybe you get them to literally, write down tips or things while they're reading your content, that's a way to increase this linger time and then increase your ranking in Google. That's the second tip. And the third tip is track your data. So if you don't know about the Search Console, set that up. If you don't know if Google Analytics is on your site, go and check right now if it's on your site. Having this data, even if you don't use it right away, having it historically can be a game changer. You don't know how many clients come to me and they've had their site up for 6 months, a year, and they don't have any data, or it's set up incorrectly and they don't have that great quality data. This can change how you see, which blog posts are bringing the most traffic, or which topics seem to be, most interesting to people through the Search Console. So these 2 tools are crucial, super crucial for doing your SEO strategy right. So I just want to add before we get into Vanessa's interview that if you are looking to take your SEO strategy to the next level, to not only attract more traffic to your site, but attract quality clients, potential clients to your site who then end up loving your services, who just want to hire you. It's just a great fit. The great thing about Google compared to social media is that once someone is searching for something and they land on your site, there is a way higher possibility of them converting because they search for something that they really want or need. You don't need to worry if you caught them at the right time or if they're even interested in your product, because in social media, it's kind of like that. It's random in a way. You're not always sure if someone's going to see your post. But in search, you know for sure because they've landed through your to your page through a search that they did, right? Again, how to make donuts. The person wants to learn that. There's no doubt about it. And there might be a way to sell that sell to that need through the content you're producing. So if you're interested in, taking on that strategy and going to the next level with that, please go on over to my site, digimorphs.com. I have a couple different options of retainers, and I'd love to help you. I'd love to help you take that part of your site and make it awesome, make that part of your marketing awesome. Here is Vanessa. Enjoy. Hey, Vanessa, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Great. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. I've been thinking about interviewing you, and I'm so happy that we got to do this. So before we get started, tell my audience a little bit about you and your business.
Oh, great. Well, I'm a fashion consultant who loves helping women look their best, no matter their age and no matter what they do. And now I'm a full-time blogger and digital content creator. Most people call us influencers, influencers, but for some reason I hate that term because so I'm staying with the creators instead.
With what? Sorry?
So I'm staying with the content creator term.
That's instead. Interesting. Why do you hate influencer? I've never heard this before.
Yes, I think content creator, because in the end, that's what I do. Develop content that inspires, helps my audience simplify their lives,
Yes.
And the purpose of my blog, The Fashion Statement, which is a beauty and lifestyle destination, is like giving those tips and necessary tools to help women to maximize their impact so they can succeed no matter no matter their lifestyle,
Right. Yes. I think that's awesome. And I mean, we work together, so you were my client, and that's one of the things I loved about your blog. You were just always so positive of the different types of women out there, and we all just want to feel great in our bodies at the end of the day.
Exactly. You need to love yourself in order to start loving others,
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I wanted to bring you on the podcast because we work together on your SEO strategy, and I feel like a lot of online businesses, specifically bloggers and influencers, but a lot of other types of businesses, they're really freaked out when it comes to SEO. So doing search engine optimization, it might sound like, you're going to have brain surgery, and it can feel scary because it's a mix of technical stuff. It's a mix of your content, and it just impacts so many parts of your site. So I've noticed that a lot of women in particular who aren't necessarily technically trained, they just avoid it. They don't want to do anything, while most of our site traffic comes from Google searches, right? So not doing SEO intentionally on your site can really be a crucial element of running a successful business. So I wanted to bring you on to hear your own experience with doing SEO with me, and just like, what your business is like now. So just to kind of start off that conversation, what were your initial thoughts when you started, learning about SEO just before meeting me?
Yes, I totally agree with what you said, because to be honest, I remember when I started my blog like 3 years ago, the person who helped me with the design said like, here's your WordPress template blog. So now it's the time to generate good content and look for a SEO, and that word was, like Chinese for me. I was so confused, like that word, like search engine optimization. Oh my gosh. And it really took me time to literally understand the importance that such powerful words can have when talking about the blogosphere, and not only blogs. any
Yeah.
website.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It can feel overwhelming. And I mean, even for me, I think that word SEO, they need to rename it or something because it's no one's scared of like social media, but for some reason SEO generates all these fears, right? Um, so yeah, so I guess you were freaked out by that. And then, we started working together. I remember, we started looking at your keywords. The initial process that I took with you is, just looking at some important trends overall for fashion bloggers. But a lot of people forget that if you've been blogging for at least 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're naturally bringing in traffic for, that can be improved on, and you can even bring more traffic. So that's kind of that first step of figuring out, okay, what are your most popular traffic generating posts, and then how can we improve those to make sure they're bringing in more traffic. So
Yes.
how was that experience of, I guess, initially identifying that and then working with me to improve those posts?
Yes, let me tell you first that I remember when I started, I remember I hired a person to work as my CEO,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the best experience. Besides, it was super pricey.
Yeah.
The communication was terrible. So basically, I didn't know what he was doing. He just said that I needed to post as much as I could and wait, you know? So, I mean, I know the CEO process takes time, but I know it's not day to night, but so it's a process or path that needs to be walked hand by hand by both parts, and the person in charge of the CEO and the blogger,
Yes.
So Cynthia, I think working with you was amazing because I especially appreciated the excellent communication between you and me. So even if I send you an email or anything, you always answered all of my questions and my doubts regarding the process. And, and they were coming while a lot of questions while working together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other part of doing SEO. Like the algorithm, just like in social media, the way that Google ranks does shift a little bit. And so I remember we would talk about those things. We also talked about other platforms, but just being updated can feel calming, right? Because
Yes,
you're
yes,
you're
right.
not like alone trying to figure it out. You have someone helping you with that. Um, the other thing that I developed while working with you, this was a change I made through our work together, is after identifying keywords, I would tell you specifically where to put the keywords. So I noticed that a lot of my clients were, happy that I was identifying the right keywords, but then they didn't really know what to do with those keywords. And so
Exactly.
that's like the crucial step, because you can have all the great keywords, but
Yes, and I think that's very important point because for us, the content creators, bloggers is something not easy to learn or understand because it's not our area.
yeah,
And for me, it's something kind of complex that you should uh, be provided from an expert in order to save time and see optimal results. So I
totally.
think it's very important. And yeah, I think I was lucky to find someone like you because you explained everything all the time, and also you're bilingual. So,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
talking about all the terms in my first language, Spanish, was even easier. And
Yes.
I noticed a significant increase regarding the traffic and visibility of my blog. And yeah, I learned some techniques to understand and to allow me to continue with the strategies to maintain it, such as you mentioned, how to incorporate the keywords, headline text, etc. So you taught me that. So
Yeah, and now you know that, right? So you can go forward.
yes,
I mean,
yes,
I would still, I don't know, keyword research is a whole part of the service that I include, but now you're just so much better at doing that on your own and just improving. The other thing that we talked a lot about was like the blog outline and format, and we went through like what's the right way to include
Exactly.
images, right? What's the right way to outline all your text, and really the goal is to try and get the visits to be as long as possible within reason, right? I remember one change that you made that was really great is you added like a video to the sidebar, because we
Yes,
remember
yes.
we were talking about video and we were trying to figure out a way to integrate more video in your content. And then now you have like this really cool like mini tutorial video on the sidebar. And I think that was great. Like such a good idea. We just did that. It was your idea, but we did it kind of together, and between like, I recommended an idea and we collaborated, to come to that.
Yes, and since nowadays everything is visual, you want people to stay and spend more money on, more time on your site.
And money.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
If they can spend
Yeah,
money, that's good too.
yeah. If they buy, well, what are you providing? But
Yes.
yes, of course, everything is visual, and if you incorporate videos and very good images, that's something that could captivate the audience. And this is, in the end, this is the thing that you want.
Yes. Yeah, totally. So so now that we have you have your SEO strategy, how does it feel to have that kind of ongoing?
I am so happy. Of course, I'm not an expert,
Yeah.
but as I mentioned, now I understand what SEO is all about. And now I know how effective writing can impact directly into your traffic. For example, like as you mentioned, write headings that include some of the keywords, or optimize your images, as well as incorporate those images between the text, etc., etc. And but that's nothing compared what a SEO expert can do to improve the traffic and visibility of your website. So that's why I think it's very important to work with one to see the optimal results.
Yeah. I definitely agree. And it can be something, that's why I also have, because I think when we started working together, you had asked for an ongoing rate, but I package all my services for 3 to 6 months. And the reason
Mm-hmm.
I do that is it gives me an opportunity to, if someone needs to take a break after 6 months, I rather them take a break and look at, what other parts of the business they want to invest in. So,
Yes, and yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. Sorry. That's something very important because you gave us like the opportunity to make easier, with all the payments and everything. That's very good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I totally believe that SEO is a long-term ongoing thing, but I rather have a 3 month option where people are intensely working on it and then they keep doing it on their own, but they're doing it, right? Instead of
Mhm.
just not doing it at all. So I structured my packages in that way so that people can, and it also kind of, it it helps focus. We have so much stuff going on in our business, and having like a little bit of focus in one area of your marketing can be really effective. And then you just keep doing it because that initial focus work is done, and then it becomes easier to maintain like a certain level of work.
Yes, yes. I agree. I agree.
So I mean, in your experience as a content creator, a digital content creator, what is like the number one piece of advice that you would give to another blogger or content creator who wants to grow their traffic, apart from doing SEO? I mean, we know that's awesome, but like what are other kind of tips and things that you've learned from, you've been online for a couple of years, so you've learned some stuff, I'm sure, along the way.
Yes, yes, and that's a very good question. And also, well, thinking of only one is kind of hard, but let me think. Probably, I'm sure that this is something that bloggers probably hear all the time, that quality over quantity.
Yes.
But it's a reality. Even if you're running a good web design or working with the best CEO, if you share poor quality, come on, nobody wants to check and lose their time. And I think especially now when there's super good content out there, and we need to know that this is a very saturated and competitive market. So if you want to stand out from the crowd, you must do your best and put effort in every single post you share, and pay attention to your images too. Because these are, as I said, like the first impression that could captivate people to stay and spend more time on your site and get interest in your content,
Yeah.
and then become your loyal audience.
Totally. Yeah. I love that. I mean, quality over quantity. And I'd even add, experiment with quality specific topics and quality general topics. I think bloggers and content creators, and this is something, I worked with you, Vanessa, in, is trying topics that are too broad or too specific. Like, both of those are bad places to go. So you want to have a variety. Doing maybe a general topic about Christmas is great, but also try maybe a more specific topic, how to bake Christmas cookies or something specific that you're interested in writing about. So we know it will be quality because you're interested in it, but you also know people are interested in knowing about that. So finding both those ranges of specificity can really help with the traffic in general, because people are searching really specific things. And although Christmas in general will get more searches, it's just too broad. It's just such a big topic. You're probably going to have so much other sites that are competing for that, and you're not going to be able to rank in them. So finding those specific topics and sprinkling them with more general things like spring outfits or winter outfits and that sort of thing can be a nice way to kind of balance your whole content calendar.
Yes, and that's why work with a SEO expert is very important, to understand all the process and to learn more important tips that will work for you to create that connection with your readers.
Yes.
And I will also like to share that consistency is also very important, to build an audience. And once you have it, I mean, girl, treat them like a treasure, because they are always going to be the most important part in every successful blog.
Yes.
So I think it's important. Don't forget your niche. I mean, like, who are you talking to? That way, that way you will know the type of content they would like to see on your blog.
Right. Yeah. Taking care of your audience it's a whole other topic.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Vanessa, it was so great talking to you. So what, just to wrap up, like, what do you have going on right now in your business that you'd like to share with my audience?
Well, right now I'm still working with different brands to generate content for their new products and some other projects for the next couple of months. So I would start a new category on my blog that is travel.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes. So I'm going to start my first collaboration in the next month, September. So you'll see. I'm very excited. And yes, I'm working. This is a full-time job. People think that sometimes it's easy, like just taking pictures and look your best, but no, behind every single shot there's a lot of work, and so
yeah,
it's a business. And I need to say that if you're in this business, I mean, well, any kind of business, you have to learn and flow with patience.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important word, because nothing happens from day to night. Even every business takes their own time. So be patient, be professional, and treat your blog as your business. So
totally,
that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe it's great that it's slow because it just means it's more stable. I always say if it, comes together fast, it probably breaks fast too. So it's the gradual patience work is actually a really great sign that your business is growing organically and it's going to be very strong and stable. It's like a baby, it's not going to grow in a day.
Yes. And every single project, no matter what small or big they are, it's exciting, it's very exciting, and you can feel satisfied when you do the right things, when you're doing the right things.
Totally. I love that. Well, thank you, Vanessa, again so much. And I'm going to include all your Instagram and your site links in the show notes.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thanks for having me. And it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk for your audience.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Cynthia here. First of all, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I make these episodes with a lot of love and effort, so there are a couple ways you can support the show. First, leaving a rating and review is amazing because it helps other people like you find the podcast. So if you have an iPhone, you can hop on over to the podcast app, tap the album art for my podcast, Digitally Overwhelmed, tap the reviews tab, and then there you can write a little review. So if you don't have an iPhone like me, you have to go to the iTunes store through your computer and find the podcast and leave me a review there. Otherwise, just leave me a review through whatever podcasting platform you're listening to the podcast on. This is super awesome. Thank you so much. Also, if you found the information in this episode helpful, feel free to share it with someone you think would benefit it. You can do this either just telling them, or you can also share with them the link digimorphs.com/podcast. And there you can find all the episodes. You can listen to them online as well. And lastly, if you do want more information about the podcast, about me, about Digimorphs, get full show notes, maybe a link that someone mentioned, head on over to digimorphs.com/podcast. You can search for this episode and previous episodes and get all the info you want. Thank you again so much for listening, and see you next week.